I'm with Zach Penn, and we're going to talk about the whole Jose Fernandez tragedy. It took on a new level. Some of you probably know in the sports world, Jose Fernandez was this amazing pitcher for the Florida Marlins. At the end of the season, he tragically died in a boat accident, 24 years old. By all reports, all baseball experts said that he was earmarked to be a Hall of Famer. He was a great, great pitcher. And also the fact that he came from Cuba. He was extremely popular in the Latin American community, very popular throughout baseball. But now the autopsy report came out that Jose Fernandez had cocaine in his system, was legally drunk, twice the limit. So Zach, sports fanatic, with this new information coming to light, what impact does it have on this horrible, tragic story?
Well, it's a big blow, like you said, to the Cuban community in Miami, where the team is based. It's a very largely Latin American community, and Fernandez was seen as some sort of a hero to them. His death, his tragic passing, was seen as exactly that, a tragedy. So now for it to come up that it perhaps was on his own fruition and he put himself at risk, it's just a really horrible thing to hear, because who once was thought of as such a great guy is now in question of not only what his social life was, but just why did he have to put himself into that sort of position, and more of raises questions than gives answers. And it just brings up Mad Mothers Against Drunk Driving. I'm sure that they'll have a lot to say about this. And I guess in a good way, it does stir the conversation as to drunk driving and all forms of drunk driving. Operating any sort of heavy machinery while under the influence of alcohol or any other drugs is clearly not something you should be doing, especially if you're a professional baseball player, someone who has a lot of responsibility, someone who the community looks up to, especially in a community where he seemed to be thriving, and an environment that he seemed to be thriving. It's just so tragic and hard to hear.
And I think it brings to light of the drug crisis in our community, which our next show will be here on the here at Poncho's the 27th of November after Thanksgiving. And it kind of brings back memories of John Belushi. John Belushi was a brilliant actor in his early 30s, superstar, had big hit on Saturday Night Live, several of his movies, Animal House, and the other one,
Blues Brothers.
I mean, he was a megastar, and he died from a lethal combination of cocaine and heroin, and it just brings back Jose Fernandez. And it's so tragic. Not only was he a gifted baseball player and a legend in his community, but his girlfriend was 7 months pregnant, and that child is going to grow up never knowing if her father. It's just so tragic on so many levels.
Yeah, it's honestly horrible. There's been a lot of athletes, too. It seems to be especially a problem with athletes of substance abuse. There's Johnny Manziel sort of ruined his career already. No team wants him because of his ongoing troubles with substance abuse. Josh Gordon, receiver for the Browns, seemed to be getting his life on track, was finally reinstated by the NFL, was about to come in right before his first week, checks back into rehab, more substance abuse. So there's a lot of great talent that is in all sorts of leagues across the way. Josh Hamilton, for instance, amazing baseball player, has had so many bouts with rehab and has had horrible things happen to him, relapsed several times. It's just sad to see the fight with substance abuse, and it raises the question of how are we getting to these athletes with substance abuse, because it's not often talked about that athletes need some sort of care and extra attention with that, because there's in such a high-paced, fast life, they need some sort of release, and often drugs can be the release that they take to when they don't find another release. So it's just sad to see yet another example, but perhaps because of how powerful of an instance this was, perhaps it will finally start to shed light on that matter, and perhaps it'll actually benefit young people who are coming up into professional sports, and it'll see that their heroes are flawed and they should step up and try to be what they believe heroes should be.
Absolutely well said. Zach, thanks for contributing on this. And again, the tragic death of Jose Fernandez, 24 years old, great pitcher for the Miami Marlins, just took a tragic twist, knowing that he, in his system was cocaine and double the amount of alcohol. So, you know, it's just a shame that such a person who had so much to live for, was a hero to so many in this community, and now we know he died doing terrible things, cocaine and alcohol.
Yeah, well, I mean, wrapping it up, it's just a sad overall story, which definitely leaves more questions than answers. But the one answer it does give is that substance abuse is wrong, and there needs to be more things present to combat it.
And finally, let me close with this, folks. If anyone out there is having problems with drugs, alcohol, there is help. You can call the Long Island Crisis Center. You can go to the one-step programs, Gamblers Anonymous, Narcotics Anonymous. But there is help out there. So if you are suffering with a drug problem, you don't have to suffer alone. There's drug counselors out there. There's one-step programs out there. But please, get help. Do something to turn your life around. We've done a show recently where we had several people in recovery, talked about how they turned their lives around. They reached rock bottom, and now their life is better because they faced their problems. They're dealing with their problems. They're in programs. They're in recovery. So, folks, if you do have a drug problem out there, there is help, but you must seek it. Thank you.